Hello, my beautiful friends. Thank you so much for stopping by. I am Lauren of Lauren Jean. Today, I thought it would be really fun to bring you along, show you every single classic book that I own. These are fiction classic books. Some of them are mysteries, some of them are just like general fiction, some of them are Christian fiction, classic, but all of them are classic. Let's get to it. I don't know how much I'm gonna go into each synopsis. I'll try my best. I'll tell you what I know, but if most of these I have not read. So you know how it goes with that. As you watch this video, I would love to know which ones you think I should get to first, prioritize in my life, because I want to read all of them. I want to read every single one of them, and there's even more that I want to buy, like Frankenstein. I really want to read Frankenstein. I really want to get to Dracula. I want to get to The Count of Monte Cristo. I do not own those yet, but I'm just trying to have self-control because your girl has a lot to read on my shelves already, okay? Let's start with classic mysteries. First is the Queen herself, Agatha Christie. I have all these Miss Marples. I'm so excited. I have read Sleeping Murder by Agatha Christie, the Miss Marple, and also The Body in the Library. But I have not read the whole series, and my friends and my husband have so kindly given me a few to read. I have The 13 Problems. This is a short story collection of Miss Marple. This is where she got her start. This is a collection of short stories, but it's at the same dinner party. Each person at the dinner party shares a mystery, and I think that they try to solve it. Then I have Murder at the Vicarage. I can't remember the order. This is, I know, my next one to read. And then I have The Moving Finger. They do it with mirrors. A murder is announced, and I am so happy to own these. I think these covers are so stunning. Also, fun fact, if you look on each of these covers, you can find Miss Marple's profile right there. You can see the woman. And I think that's really cool. So excited to get to those. Another classic mystery that I have is The Listening House by Mabel Seeley. This is about a woman who moves into this apartment complex type building, I think. She exposes deadly secrets. I don't know. I'm excited to get to it and see if Mabel Seeley is my kind of mystery author. Now I'm gonna go on to just classics. I'm not gonna try to organize them other than by author if I can, but I have a lot of books. So the first is Anne of Green Gables and Anne of Avonlea. If you've been watching my vlogs, I recently read Anne of Green Gables, and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with Anne. She's so me as a child. She is me and I am her. I love her. I love her with my whole heart and soul. I love Ella Montgomery's writing style. The way she describes landscape is just the right amount, and it's stunning. It's beautiful. I thought this felt like spring to me. This book felt like spring before I read it. I was so happy to know that it really hit every season within the book, which I just really appreciated. Most people say that this is a book to read in fall because of the famous quote about autumn, but I think you can read it anytime. I am so excited to read this month in February, Anne of Avonlea. I can't wait. I'm hoping that the whole series holds up for me. I'm a little bit nervous just because how can it compare? But I've heard that it gets better and better, so I hope that that's right. Next is Middlemarch by George Eliot. This is such a cute little pocket book, but I just want you to see this cover. Oh my gosh. I literally can't. I'm obsessed. The back of it says, and of course men know best about everything except what women know better. This book is so stunning because it has this embossment on it, and I just love it so much. And I know it's tiny, but it's actually really, really comfortable to hold. And so I'm excited to actually like read this story via this book. I have heard mixed things about Middlemarch, but I think I'm gonna get on with it. It's about, from what I understand, just this woman's life. I think maybe she finds love. Maybe there's a few love interests in this one, but I'm excited to read a George Eliot. I've never read anything from her and just really, really looking forward to it. Another one of the, like this version, is The Age of Innocence by Edith Wharton. I really like this yellow dressed lady on this cover. I need to remove this sticker, if you can see that, but it's so fun. This back is just really, really fun. And this woman, I just love it. I'm obsessed with these covers. They're so beautiful. The back of this one says, "We can't behave like people in novels though, can we?" I don't know much about Edith Wharton. I know she is a well-beloved classic author, but I'm excited to read this. I do think that this is about a love story, if I'm remembering right. Should you do what you know you should do, or are you gonna do what you want to do? That is the question. Another one that I got at Half Price Books, and I still haven't taken off the sticker, is Virginia Woolf's A Room of One's Own. This one imagines if Shakespeare had a sister. I've heard this is a look into womanhood, a look into women's rights. I've heard that this was a big influence on women's rights, and so I'm very much looking forward to picking this up. It's very short. I've never read a Virginia Woolf, but she's super influential, and I think this might be a good one for me to start with. One that I hope to get to really, really, really soon is The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Get it right. This is a beloved classic from many, many people. I love the 20s. I love the 20s so much, and the romanticized version of the 20s, okay? I'm not trying to not have any rights as a woman or air conditioning. If you know, you know. This follows our main characters Daisy and Jay Gatsby. I think they get up to some trouble. I think this is a look at society, New York in the 20s, which I feel like is so intriguing to me. I think a lot of people read this in high school. I didn't. I feel like I've missed out, but also I'm kind of glad maybe that I didn't read it in high school, because I don't know if I would have appreciated it the way that I probably will now. Next, I have a few Dickens. The first being A Christmas Carol. Everybody knows the story of A Christmas Carol. I was thinking the other day how awesome it is that this has had such a profound influence on our society. Just the story has resonated so profoundly, so consistently. It's still such a well-known story that's pretty amazing. So I have it. I'm gonna read it this Christmas. And I also have another Dickens, A Tale of Two Cities. I feel like after or before A Christmas Carol, this one will be what I get to or try at first, like the first Dickens I try, if that makes sense. I don't know anything about it, but these people look like they're fighting. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It says, vividly interweaving epic historical drama with personal tragedy, Dickens' gripping novel depicts the lives of two very different men as they become enmeshed through their love for a woman. Ooh, interesting. My feet are falling asleep. Let's do a little Louisa May Alcott spotlight. If you didn't know, Little Women is one of my favorite books of all time. It was my favorite book of all time until Anne of Green Gables. And I feel like because I connected so deeply with Anne of Green Gables that this is like, is it number 2? I don't know, but I do love this book, okay? It is like all-time favorite book, okay? If you didn't know what this is about, it's following the March sisters as they navigate Civil War era hardships. I love the depictions of sisterhood and just the ups and downs with that. I also really love these sisters. I do. As I'm thinking about it, I'm like, oh, it does touch my heart so much. I love Marmee. I think reading this again, I would really, really, really connect with Marmee. But I love Jo and Meg. I just feel, I love all of them. Okay, I love Amy. This is such a good story. I love it. I love it, and I think you should read it. And also, I love this cover. I really love this cover. It's from Barnes & Noble, but when I saw it, I was like, I must have it. I actually have many versions of this book because I love it so much. It's one of my all-time favorites, so don't judge me, okay? And then I also recently bought, because I'm in a book club with Felicia Masonheimer. She is a theologian and author, but she has like a fictional / nonfiction book club this year that I joined, and I'm so excited for it. But we're going to be reading Under the Lilacs by Louisa May Alcott. I got this on eBay. I thought it was really cute. Like, it's such a cute book, but it's a vintage classic. I think that's so fun. I don't know anything about this at all. I'm assuming it's a children's classic. Little Women is also a children's book, but I do think you can read it anytime. So I'm hoping that this will be just the same. I am very much looking forward to trying more of Louisa May Alcott. Recently, I read Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy. I absolutely fell in love with this book. It's following our main character, Bathsheba Everdeen, as she is coming into owning her own farm, like her own sheep farm. Oh, the tumultuous times that come upon her. Some by her own doing and some not. It is also about different men around her. Gabriel Oak, Sergeant Troy, and also Farmer Baldwood, the chaos that happens. His writing is so good. It is so good. I just really, really love his writing style. The plot picks up about halfway through, so if you pick this up and you're like, oh my gosh, is anything gonna happen? Just wait. Please just wait. I promise you it's worth it. Okay? I promise. I promise. Because I read that and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Thomas Hardy, apparently. I also picked up Tess of the D'Urbervilles. I cannot wait to read this book. This version is from Barnes & Noble, and I really, really appreciated it in Far from the Madding Crowd because he gives such good footnotes, mainly on like words and also biblical references, because he did use a lot of biblical references in Far from the Madding Crowd, and I've heard that he does that onward. So if you didn't know necessarily the references or what he's alluding to, it's so helpful, and I really, really appreciated it. So I'm very excited. I don't know, many people have said this is their favorite of Thomas Hardy. It is a tragedy. It is about a woman who unfortunately gets, I think, SA'd or RAPED. I think this is a very harsh look at society at the time on how they view women. I'm excited. I'm not nervous. I know this is going to be really, really hard to read. I've heard that it's definitely one of his tragedies. I am so excited to get to it. So it's been staring me down. I really want to read this. I think I'll probably pick this up after the one that I'm reading currently, which I'll talk about in a second, but I'm excited for this. And then this is The Return of the Native by Thomas Hardy. Same edition. Also, just the cover. I don't know. I've heard that Thomas Hardy, and it was definitely true in Far from the Madding Crowd, but his pastoral descriptions are so beautiful and engrossing. I'm not exactly sure what this is about. I've heard that it's about two people who are in love, but they choose to only see the best in each other, I think, until they don't. But I've heard it's good. I've heard it's one of his best. So if you've read it, let me know. I also picked up Jude the Obscure by Thomas Hardy. This one I am very intrigued by because this one, like, society freaked out after he wrote this, and it actually ended his writing career. He went on to live, I think, like a few decades more. He stopped writing after this because of the way it was received in society, which just like that alone, you know, I don't even know what it's about. But the fact that it caused him to stop writing, the way society freaked out after he wrote this, makes me just need to read it, you know? Let's look at the Jane Austens that I own. I own 3 currently. I'm wanting to make my way through them and then buy more. Okay, the first one I have read, Pride and Prejudice. I absolutely love this book. This is top 3 favorite book of all time. It's definitely my favorite romance of all time. It's so good. It's so good. This is another story that has had such a chokehold on our brains. Like, it's an enduring story that everyone knows, I feel like. Mr. Darcy and Elizabeth Bennet, they are from different classes and they definitely have prejudice and pride against each other. I just really loved a look at this family. Elizabeth Bennet's family, there's 5 sisters. There's 5 sisters in this. 4 sisters in Little Women. But I just love them. Elizabeth is so strong. I love how Jane Austen wrote her. I just love this book. I need to reread it. I've actually heard from many different people that as you read more Jane Austen, this isn't typically your favorite. Like, it's a favorite, but I'm interested to see if as I read more of her work, if this will stay my favorite, you know? We'll just have to see. But I also have Northanger Abbey, also from Half Price Books. I don't really know much about this. It is pretty short. It's a lighthearted account of a young girl's first excursion into fashionable society. Catherine Morland is taken to Bath, where among the crowd of new acquaintances she meets Henry Tilney and her sister Eleanor, who invite her to stay at their family home. Northanger Abbey. Catherine, a devotee of horrid Gothic novels, fervently hopes that the abbey will match the haunted ruins conjured up in her imagination. I've heard that this is like kind of poking fun at popular fiction at the time, so I'm excited. I'm very intrigued by this. And then I also have Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen. I love these covers. They are the Puffin and Bloom editions. This is about sisters. I honestly don't really know the story. I've seen the movie a long time ago, but don't remember it. So I think that they fall in love and are wronged by some men, but I think it's more in depth on a look on sisterhood, if I'm remembering right. Next, I'm going to talk about The Inferno by Dante. This is actually an epic poem. This is the first book in his Divine Comedy series. If you don't know about this, it's about Dante. He wrote himself into this poem. He gets taken to look at the rings of hell and then makes his way up to paradise. Started reading this, and I'm not going to lie, I'm intimidated. But I recently read, it was kind of random, in this nonfiction book that I was reading, kind of explains this book, which I was so appreciative of. I think I just need to find resources to help me with this book. This edition is really good because before each section of the poem, it gives like a background of what's going on. So I appreciate that. I think this is one I'm gonna have to take my time with and sit with a long time as I go to fully wrap my mind around. Next, I have one that I am reading. I have slowed down on it, but I did start Narrative of Sojourner Truth. She was a slave. She was a Christian. Oh my gosh, like the little bit that I did read, it was rocking my world. It's going into her life, her family, what happened to her. I think it's a really important read and I'm excited to keep reading it. It was really accessible. It says, Sojourner has stood before this nation many years advocating the cause of human rights, and yet she presses on. The way that she is speaking about things that happened to her really are hitting me and striking my heart. A really cool perspective because she was a Christian and kept her Christianity through really abusive, obviously, situations, but Christians who owned her, you know? And that's hard. That's hard, but it's important. Next, I have The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. I am really excited about this. I've heard that this is, I think, maybe the first Gothic book written. I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure either if it wasn't the first, it had a great, huge influence on this genre. It's following a Walter Hartwright and his eerie encounter with a strange, solitary woman on a moonlit London road. He becomes embroiled with sinister intrigues. Some weird stuff happens. I've heard really good things about Wilkie Collins' writing style, and I feel like it's going to be right up my alley. Next, I have East of Eden by John Steinbeck. This cover is so cool. I love these so much. My husband gave this to me for Christmas, and I love these books. I wish they had more classic books in these editions. They have a few, but I wish there were more, you know? This is about actually like a fictional narrative of John Steinbeck's life, and also somehow integrating the story of Cain and Abel. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've heard that his writing is so accessible and so easy to fall into and to get into. I'm really looking forward to it. Next, let's talk about some Dostoevsky. I have not Crime and Punishment. This is The Brothers Karamazov. I am currently reading it right there. Really loving it so much. This is about a father who is horrible. He's a horrible person. His name is Fyodor also, and he has 3 sons, maybe more, we don't know, but one of these sons ends up murdering him. And you know that from the beginning, but this is so much more than that. It's very much a look at morality, religion. When Dostoevsky was writing this, society was drastically changing. I don't know. I'm just really loving it. I am vlogging this currently, so I'm trying to put this into one vlog instead of breaking it up into weekly vlogs. I'm taking my time too with it. I don't want to rush through it. This is said to be one of the greatest novels of all time. So we'll see. We'll just have to see. Another Dostoevsky that I have is Crime and Punishment, and this one is probably one of his more well-known, like, in culture. You've probably heard that phrase, Crime and Punishment, but it's about a man who ends up murdering someone. I think it's a look at how he got there, how you can justify actions. It's a murder story told from a murderer's point of view that implicates even the most innocent reader in its enormities. It's a cat and mouse game between a tormented young killer and a cheerful, implacable detective. It is a preternaturally accurate investigation of the forces that impel a man towards sin, suffering, and grace. This sounds so good. I'm really looking forward to it. Moving on, I have the Odyssey and the Iliad, I don't know. These covers are so cool. I love them. This is translated by Emily Wilson. Both of these are. I've heard really good things about this translation. If you don't know what this is, it's a Greek epic poem about gods and men, morality, virtue, beauty, goodness. I am really looking forward to getting to these. I am probably going to read this one first and then this one, but my husband gave them to me for Christmas and I'm so appreciative. They're stunning. I love them. And I'm really looking forward to reading the OG. I've read a lot of retellings of the myths in here, but I'm excited to read the original. Next, I have The Picture of Dorian Gray. I am really looking forward to reading this. I didn't know that this was his only novel, by the way. I didn't realize that until getting more into classics. He's written plays, apparently. You guys probably already know all this, but I didn't. Wilde's portrayal of the search for eternal youth, its wild joys and wilder sins, and its price. That's all you need to know. It's literally about a portrait that kind of makes someone go mad, if I'm remembering right. I don't know. I'm excited to read it. It's a classic for a reason, right? Next, I have one that I do not know like anything about. I hadn't even heard about it, but it's a part of the book club that I was mentioning earlier with Felicia Masonheimer. So I bought it recently, and that is Cain by Jean Toomer. I don't know anything about this. I've heard that it's really hard-hitting and very hard to read. It says, a literary masterpiece of the Harlem Renaissance. Cain is a powerful work of innovative fiction evoking Black life in the South. So it has sketches, poems, and stories of Black rural and urban life that make up Cain. And they're very rich in imagery. So there's like thrown in here poems also and like little sketches. So I'm very excited to read this. I know that it's going to be pretty hard to read. but probably really important too, and I am really looking forward to it. One that I picked up at a thrift store recently, it was like $1, and I don't know how you even say this. I probably should have looked that up. Aeschylus. Okay, Aeschylus. Okay, this cover is so cool. I saw this because it's the Penguin Classics and I love these books so much. But then I looked on the back and it's a masterpiece of Greek tragedy. In the Orestia, the only trilogy in Greek drama that survives from antiquity, Aeschylus took as his subject the bloody chain of murder and revenge within the family, the royal family of Argos. It says, as they move from darkness to light, from rage to self-governance, from primitive ritual to civilized institution, their spirit of struggle and regeneration becomes an everlasting song of celebration. So it's like moving from darkness to light. I'm here for that. I am so here for that. And then I also got at the same thrift store, Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Marble Faun. I had never heard of this, but I have read Nathaniel Hawthorne's The Scarlet Letter. That is one classic that I read in high school. And I actually really did love that. It's kind of surprising that we read that one, honestly. But anyways, the little top thing says, Hawthorne's novel of Americans Abroad, the first novel to explore the influence of European cultural ideas on American morality. It's set in Rome, but I guess it's following Americans. There is also a murder in this one, but I think it's kind of a look at morality, which, you guys, I love that. I love this so much. I'm so excited to get into more classics that deal with these deeper issues. Like, that's something I feel like are, not always, but I feel like our literature nowadays, modern literature, is just really lacking in. It's more about entertainment and not about looking deeper at the why of us and the ticking behind what we do. You know, I wish there was more of that. So I'm really looking forward to this one. I do have a few Shakespeare that I wanted to show you. I have A Midsummer Night's Dream. I'm excited about. I've heard that this is really hard to read. I don't know if that's true, but this is one that I'm like most interested in, I feel like, or one of the top ones that I'm interested in, because it has to do with like fairies and it's very whimsical. There's a love story, and this version I'm excited about because on one side it has the play, the original, and then on this side it has like information you might need to know or words that we don't use today. So I'm excited to try my hand at this. I also have Hamlet. This is the No Fear Shakespeare. This is probably one of his most famous ones, but I'm excited to read it. And then I also have Macbeth. I think this is probably my first one that I'm going to try to read, and I want to read it fairly soon. So I'm very, very looking forward to Macbeth. I feel like this is one, well, Shakespeare in general has had such a profound influence on our society, but I'm excited to read his work and then see the like tendrils that have gone out from that. You know what I mean? I'm very looking forward to this. The last two are some Christian classic fiction. I do have like Christian classic nonfiction. If you want to see that, let me know. Like if you want a separate video, but right now I'm just doing fiction. The first is Hind's Feet on High Places. This is by Hannah Hernard, and this is illustrated by Jill DeHaan and Rachel McNaughton. This is such a pretty edition because ever so often there will be either pictures or illustrations. It says, this is a story of endurance, persistence, and reliance on God. This book has inspired millions to become sure-footed in their faith, even when facing the rockiest terrains. I am about halfway through this book, and then I set it down and haven't read it. Not because I wasn't loving it, just because that's what I do sometimes. I am really looking forward to completing this book. It is so good. It is so good. So, highly recommend. And then I also have The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan. This one is translated or retold, I guess, in by Cheryl V. Ford. It says, keeping your eyes fixed upon the light and go directly to it. This is also a Christian allegorical story. It's about a man named Christian on this journey we call life. It says, The Pilgrim's Progress is one of the greatest Christian classics of all time. Answers the question, what does walking with Jesus really look like in this life? And I'm excited to get to it. I'm not gonna lie to you, it does intimidate me, and I'm not sure why. Mainly because I'm nervous about the language, but this version is really cool because, and I don't even know if that's even a thing. Maybe I shouldn't be intimidated by the language, but this version is so cool because there's like footnotes with Bible verses and little notes on the sides so that as you go through it and as like what happens to him happens, you can go read the Bible and see what it's talking about in the Bible. Oh my gosh. That makes me so excited. So really looking forward to this one. So there you have it, my friends. As you can see, most of them I have not read. And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I am building my collection and I am making my way through them. This year is definitely the year of classics for me. I feel this deep need to, I just want to read things that matter and like hit me in my heart, you know, and like change me. There's nothing wrong with a good mystery. Obviously, I have some classic mysteries or like an easier book, but I feel this like, I don't know, this like really deep desire for deeper things. And I know that's from the Lord. So I'm really excited this year to dive more into that. Just have some more substance to my reading. Does that make sense? Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to this point in the video, let me know, again, which one I should start with. Well, I'm already reading The Brothers Karamazov, but I would really love to know which one is your favorite or one of your favorites, or if there's something on this list that I don't have. Like, what am I missing? Tell me, let me know. If there are favorites of yours or ones that you think I would love, please let me know down below. But until next time, my friends, I will see you in my next bookish video. Bye.